Listen, all you New Yorkers. Excuse me. Taxi.
Okay, man, we're looking around.
This is the 77 WABC minicast.
And tonight on the Rita Cosby show, Eric Swalwell in big time trouble. The allegations against Eric Swalwell are stunning. And I told you guys last night right here on the Rita Cosby show, I remember Norm called and Norm was like, well, you know what? She went back. And then I said, well, what if she had been drugged? It sounded to me like a little bit like the allegations against Bill Cosby. And guess what? Now the allegations today that came out in the last few hours sounds a lot more like the allegations against Bill Cosby, and it may show a pattern. And this is absolutely damning for a guy who's been in Congress a number of years, for a guy who is running for California governor, for a guy also who was running for president at one point. And now it's like, there's gambling in Las Vegas. That's the way that the Democrats are acting, guys. Like, surprise, surprise. Oh, there must be some problem. I had no idea. That's the line from Ruben Gallego, his good friend who was chair of his campaign, who used to go on vacations with him. He said, there were some allegations he was a little flirty, but no big deal. You know, I just heard them in the last few weeks. They've been together for a long time. And then you got Nancy Pelosi out there saying, I just had no idea. Well, she knew at minimum that this was a guy who was hanging around with Fang Fang, a Chinese spy, having relations with her. Now it makes you wonder, was he compromised? He never kind of turned in Fang Fang. Did Fang Fang have something on him? Because clearly, after everything I've heard, she probably did have a lot of dirt on him. So I think this needs to be investigated. Who knew what and who knew when they knew it? And what are they hiding? What else are they hiding? Were they willing to allow this guy to continue as even maybe becoming the governor of California and who knows what? But then suddenly he wasn't politically expedient for them. They saw it was a crowded field and it's called a jungle primary. And they're like, oh, we got to throw him under the bus. Believe me, it sounds like he deserves to be thrown under the bus, especially when you hear the allegations today. So I can't wait to hear from all of you tonight. What do you think of these allegations against Eric Swalwell and how bad do they look? Especially when you hear the new allegations coming from this woman who was an executive at a software company and a model, says that she met him 3 times and 2 times it was business. And the 3rd time he gave her the business. The 3rd time she claims that she believes she was drugged by him, ended up in a hotel room with him. And she said she was completely incapacitated, couldn't move her arms or legs, and that he was choking her. Does this sound like a nice man? This to me sounds like big time trouble. And the Democrats have an enormous problem here and they know it. And earlier today on Katz and Cosby, we were talking with Ari Fleischer, and he said that he believes that Eric Swalwell is acting like a guilty man, that the way he's acting, yes, he's coming out and saying these are false accusations, that they're not true. He believes they're politically expedient, all that stuff. But he has quickly dropped out of the governor's race. He has quickly dropped out of Congress. He did that today. So you don't do all that if you didn't do something. You come forward and say, yeah, I made mistakes, but I am staying. These are abhorrent. I will fight this. I've fought for women my entire life, and I'm staying, and I'm not going anywhere. This is all political attacks. But he's not doing that. So I agree with Ari. He sure is acting like a guilty man. That's my opinion. 1-800-848-9222. 1-800-848-9222. Now, here's the new one that came out today, and this one I believe is damning. She comes forward and says that in 2018, this is what happened to her with a guy she only met twice before, and this is what she said happened on the 3rd time. She said she had no romantic relationship with Eric Swalwell. She just thought he could help her with politics and with her software company. She said there was no personal relationship, nothing sexual until this moment that night. and listen to what she says she endured. These are her allegations against Eric Swalwell. This is Lana Drews in her own words. And boy, was it a blockbuster press conference today.
He raped me, and he choked me. And while he was choking me, I lost consciousness. And I thought I died. I did not consent to any sexual activity. Although I did not undergo a rape kit at the time, I disclosed the assault to the people closest to me. I also recorded these events in my handwritten calendar. The assault and its impact were later documented during my therapy sessions at a sexual assault center in Connecticut. It had a profound impact on my mental health. I self-medicated in an unhealthy way. I did not want to live anymore. I cried all the time for years. At the time, I was in a dating relationship with a boyfriend I was fully committed to. I've never cheated in my life, and I would never have engaged in a consensual sexual encounter with Eric Swalwell.
Pretty strong stuff. And then here's where she says she believes he drugged her drink. Listen to this one.
In 2018, while I was living and working as a model in Beverly Hills, and I also owned a fashion software company, I had contact with Eric Swalwell on 3 separate occasions after meeting him socially. He offered me connections to further my software company, and I also had an interest in local politics. He invited me to 2 public events. I knew he was married at the time and that his wife was pregnant. He was my friend. On the 3rd occasion, I believe he drugged my drink.
I believe he drugged my drink. That's how I ended up completely incapacitated. She says, I had 1 glass of wine. You also heard she says that at the time, she wrote it in her diary. She told family members. She told friends. She later went to therapy. And also today, she and her attorney, Lisa Bloom, after the press conference, filed a criminal action against a criminal complaint in California, in Hollywood, where she says this happened against Eric Swalwell. That's in addition to the one in New York with Alvin Bragg. Now let's go back to last night. Here is Eric Swalwell's. This is the other victim. Now this one today, this Lorna Drews, who's come forward with her name, she's the 5th one. 5. She's the 5th one. Lisa Bloom says since all of this kind of came out in the last 24 hours, she's had another 3 come forward. So if you put all those together, it may be 8. It looks like it's 8 total, or it may be a combination of some of them calling her after the other, or it may not be, but it sounds like it's 8. That's a lot of women. And when you heard the story of this woman, Lana Drews, couple that with what the other woman said the other night to CNN, saying that she felt totally incapacitated, as if she maybe had been drugged. Listen to this.
Decided to ask him to meet me for a drink. And I did this because I was so far removed from what had happened in 2019. I felt safe because I was established. I had a partner. I felt more secure that I could have a strictly professional relationship with this person. After that bar closed, we went to another. I went to the bathroom, and I don't remember anything after that.
You don't remember anything?
I remember the next day. I can see flashes of that evening, of him on top of me pushing him off, him grabbing me. It was a lot more aggressive. It was aggressive.
Did you say no?
Yes, I said no. In my flash that I can recall, I was pushing him off of me saying no.
And what did he do?
He didn't stop.
He didn't stop. And you woke up the next morning.
I woke up the next morning naked, alone in his hotel room. I, for a moment, didn't even know I was in his hotel room. That's how intoxicated I was. And I called my mom, the only person I could think that could help me.
So she was totally out of it, and so was this other one totally out of it, alluding that maybe they had been drugged. And the first one that you just heard me play, saying that she says that Eric Swalwell choked her. I mean, this is not flirt. This is not, consensual. I didn't hear anything consensual, especially in this new one and the one before. That's not consensual either. And I want to hear you guys out there, because a couple of you guys last night were like, oh, it sounded consensual. You were alluding to that. You got to be kidding me. 1-800-848-9222, 1-800-848-9222. And let's not forget also, Eric Swalwell, he's the first one who would throw Trump under the bus, Brett Kavanaugh under the bus, whenever there were these allegations. Even the Brett Kavanaugh for Supreme Court, there were crazy allegations. There didn't seem to be any merit to it. They were wild allegations, even just hearing them on their face. And yet, he bought it hook, line, and sinker. He was the Democrats' attack dog against Trump, against anything attached to Trump. And the Democrats were happy using him in that position as long as it worked for them politically, which is why it's disgusting, because I firmly believe that a lot of them probably knew all these allegations out there, knew that there were a lot of things. They probably saw things that they thought were completely inappropriate for a member of Congress, a married member of Congress, a father married member of Congress. And yet they were willing to turn a blind eye when it worked for them. Here is Eric Swalwell, by the way. This is just in 2024 with his good friend Jimmy Kimmel talking about women and their bodies. And if Trump wins the election, boy, he couldn't wait to slam Trump. Here he is.
The consequences for everyone else, like women in their bodies, kids in their safety at school, seniors in their health care. Like to him, it's me, me, me. Democrats, sometimes we stand too much on virtue and like modesty, and we think everything is a Harvard Law School moot court competition. But we just need to talk about this like it's a gut check to the regular folks and not make this so complicated. Just be real.
You say a lot of nasty things about you on Fox News. I mean, they're your parents. Doesn't that upset them and make them go, I see that what they're saying is not true. I shouldn't believe anything else they say.
My mom told me recently that when she would hear Tucker Carlson or Sean Hannity go after me, she would change the channel. She's like, I don't like that, honey. That I think they went too far. So, yeah, thanks, Mom.
Wow.
Yeah, this is a guy who posed like he was like a leader of the Me Too movement, protecting women, all the while clearly crossing the line and maybe criminal behavior based on these allegations, well beyond criminal behavior. These are very serious charges. If indeed he gets convicted of rape, and if it's with special circumstances, there's no statute, by the way, of limitations, so there's no time limit in California. But if it were to come to that, and then you add the drugging, that's a special circumstance. That's a serious thing. He will serve time. If he is convicted of this, if it goes to that, if it can be proven, again, he says he didn't do it. But if indeed all these things come together, he will be behind bars.